Call 312-6-million. Injury law made personal. That's Ankin Law.
We're moving over to third base. And our projected starter for the Chicago White Sox at third base in 2026 is Miguel Vargas. Of course, the White Sox signing Murakami and having him play first base. We know that Murakami will get some starts at third. Maybe Lenyn Sosa spells some time at third. But we are projecting that Miguel Vargas gets the majority of time at third base this upcoming season after splitting time between first and third last year. PECOTA is projecting 145 games for Miguel Vargas in 2026, hitting 16 home runs, 60 RBIs, batting .231 with a .317 on base percentage, slugging .378. That's a .695 OPS. James Vegan, for Miguel Vargas, what does a successful 2026 season look like?
I'd be too boring to just say like average or better defensive metrics, though that's probably like a big part of it as far as like being a long-term plan there. So 20 home runs, that probably represents the sort of power output that's not a crazy ask for him, but probably represents a level of success. I kind of think it's a given he's going to take walks, and I don't know about like make promises. He's not gonna like strike out like 25% of the time unless like his swing breaks down in some major way. It's kind of hard to go like hard under on any of these unless you just think somebody's like season's gonna fall apart, like, or you think this person's like a total fraud. Like even Murakami, like there's obviously bust potential that we all talk about, but it's hard to like the outcomes of that would look so putrid that you could like have a hard time like saying at the start of a podcast, like, oh, he's gonna hit 8 home runs and be phantom IL by June. Like who would pick that? That just seems so dour and like negative. So I think 20 home runs represents like him driving the ball consistently enough, where his on-base skills are make him like at least like a regular startable player. I don't know if it like makes him a long-term fixture type of season. He could hit 20 home runs and be like a 108 WRC plus guy with like still below average third base metrics, and you're still kind of like, all right, he's still in the mix next year, but we're not necessarily like not thinking about the future of the third base position anymore. It's just Miguel. But I think 20 kind of keeps him, in the game in a significant way as someone who's going to get significant, playing time the season after that. Even if it doesn't like preclude him from like, hey, we have a million shortstops now, so third base is Colson's now or something like that. But it kind of further establishes him as a legit like everyday guy of some stripe, or at least regular. So I'll say that. But the defense does need to be better than last season for him to really like that to be established as his home, as opposed to like, all right, he's a good corner bat that we use in a lot of different ways, and we'll see where his playing time comes from. I think he needs a two front kind of improvement to really like, this is our everyday third baseman for sure going into 2027. But people love dingers. If he hits 20, they'll be happy with him.
Well, that's a great lead into the yay or nay, Jim Margulis, for Miguel Vargas. And yay or nay, Miguel Vargas settles the third base future for the Chicago White Sox with both his bat and glove.
I'm going to say nay. I think it'll probably be more amorphous of just, the couple of guys I think of when it comes to like right-handed, third base, first base, bounces back and forth, hits for some power, but not a ton. Seems like he should be able to hit for average, but doesn't necessarily like, and these are references that popped in my head for the archetype is like Casey McGee or Chris Johnson or somebody like that in terms of, just random polls, but somebody like bounces around between teams because like teams can find a use for that kind of player who they just need an average bat. Don't need like a sterling defender, aren't going to count on that guy being the like 5 or 6 days a week at that position, but can serve a purpose. I think that's the kind of the model I'm going for in terms of like which number I'm looking at or which statistical category I'm thinking about Vargas. I'm kind of going in a different direction, just wondering how much more average he has in his bat, because if he's somebody who can hit like 260, 270, I don't think anybody's going to you can count on 280 anymore, given the way the league is going, and 300 really seems like even more of a pipe dream. But just like 260 plus the on base skills, plus the occasional power, plus the versatility in the infield. Like I think that's something that carries in the league for a while. And that's especially with not a whole lot of players hitting 260 or 270 with other skills. That's something to keep in the league for a while versus somebody has to hit 20 homers, 25 homers with the defense not being great. When you watch him, like week to week, it seems like he's somebody who doesn't look overmatched at the plate. Seems like he can cover a fair amount of it and can, work the field to where he doesn't need to, take advantage of every single pulled ball in the air to get over the fence. But seems like it's kind of trending that way. And I don't know if it's just like a first full season figuring it out that like that's how he's surviving and that's how he's providing value, but he can evolve further and make more use of his batted ball contact. But that's redundant. But yeah, make more use of his batted balls. I think that's what I'm looking for. I guess the number is like what kind of average can he hit, and how does that manifest itself in terms of keeping the offense moving, driving in himself, but also being able to drive in others if he is somebody hitting fifth or sixth in his lineup and getting guys on base.
He is clearly like a big leaguer. It's just like it's not really defined like what level yet. And this is his last pre-arb year, and teams are like, especially teams like this one, are more reticent than ever to paying arbitration for guys who don't have like really established everyday essential roles. And even then, they try to find like extensions or ways to not give them annual raises in arbitration. So it's like just a very critical year for him.
When we talked about Munetaka, Murakami, and those projections from PECOTA, an OPS over 800, I think if he nails that, successful year. If Miguel Vargas meets these PECOTA projections, I think in the offseason we're going to be talking about the White Sox looking for an improvement at third base. Because I did the whole media tour watching Rock Chalowski. You've seen it on our YouTube channel. I was on ESPN 1000 talking about Rock. And everyone's question is, you got Colson Montgomery, Rock Chalowski, and Billy Carlson in the system. How's this infield going to look? And it's like, part of me's like, hold on. Let's see what Miguel does in 2026. What if he makes a big step forward? He's got to do better than what PECOTA is projecting. Like for me, I think a successful season would be a 750 OPS. I don't know, James, about the power, but I do think, to Jim's point, the contact and on base skills, like drawing walks, walking 9% of the time, I think Vargas can reach 750 OPS.
What if Bonnemer reaches and torches AA by the end of next season? That also complicates the picture.
It does, but it's not like our year one for someone like Miguel Vargas is a ton of money, right?
Right, but teams find any reason to shave anything at this point.
No, that is a good point. For listeners and those watching on our YouTube channel, these PECOTA projections for Miguel Vargas, for me, that's not good enough. If those are the actual, how he ends the season with a sub 700 OPS, I think everyone with your offseason plan projects entering the lockout, so you have plenty of time to do them, we're all going to be looking at ways to improve at third base for the White Sox.
Well, so playing a lot of major league time and not doing well is not going to do well for your PECOTA projections. So, like, obviously 2024 is weighing heavily on, like, even if it doesn't seem super relevant to what kind of player he is now, that's going to, weigh on his, statistical projection profile more heavily than, Murakami, like, having 800 OPS in the MPB in 2024 is probably more worrisome, but it's not going to, like, ding him statistically in these sort of projections the way Vargas struggled in 2024 did.
So then let's set the over-under with an optimistic point of view. And I'm setting it at 70.5 RBIs for Miguel Vargas in 2026, which means I think he is going to surpass what PECOTA is projecting. He's going to be closer to that 750 OPS season line, if not higher. James Fegan, I'll start with you. Are you taking the over or under 70.5 RBIs for Miguel Vargas in 2026?
God, this feels like really pure gambling now because it's RBIs and it's no longer adhering to like a straightforward logic. I want to pick an under because I want to pick an under somewhere, and I want to make this like positive reasons, like the White Sox lineup was deeper, so Vargas isn't necessarily installed in the 3-hole the way he was last season, and he could have like a somewhat like improved season, like maybe 30 OPS points higher, but if he's batting 6th or 7th throughout the year, or gets down there over the course of the season because like other guys are doing great, because like Teal and Caro are like top of the order, middle of the order guys, and he doesn't get to 70. So I want to go under, but in a good way. Does that make sense?
Sure. I mean, if he's batting 6th or 7th in this lineup, he's not going to have that many opportunities like last year. So
right, like
I understand.
Could the rookie catchers kind of take a bigger role, and that's what prevents that from happening.
Jim, are you taking the over or under 70.5 RBIs from Miguel Vargas?
Yeah, basically what James said. I was kind of thinking the same thing. I guess the negative slant would be if you have like some all or nothing power hitters in front of him, whether it's Murakami, Montgomery, and they're not getting on base a ton, but they're hitting homers when they make contact. Does that leave just like the bases empty one way or another for when he comes up to the plate and he's more somebody who has to get on base and start something again, because it's either he's the first batter of the inning or because fireworks just went off and now they have to start another rally?
I'm going to take the over. I'm thinking like 75 RBIs for Miguel Vargas in 2026. I'm thinking we're going to see the Miguel Vargas offensively that's closer to what all the prospect analysts were projecting when he was part of the Los Angeles Dodgers farm system. I think we get closer to that. Miguel Vargas is a hitter. I'm still uncertain of what the defense brings at third base. I thought Vargas played well defensively over at first base for the White Sox last year, but I totally understand having Murakami be your first baseman, and you still want his bat in the lineup, so move Vargas back over to third. I'm thinking at some point you're going to see, like, I don't know if Maidroth's a great leadoff hitter, but I'm thinking Maidroth, Montgomery, Vargas, Murakami. Because Murakami hitting behind Vargas, I think he gets challenged more times than not. So let's do this, Miguel. Let's get to 75 RBIs this season. That will really help the White Sox lineup. So I'm going to take the over. Thanks for watching the latest Sox Machine video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/SoxMachine. And if you ever need something to listen to, subscribe to the Sox Machine podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, such as Spotify and Apple Music.